Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gran Turismo 6 No Money Challenge. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, I recommend you watch those before watching this one. Anyways, I welcome you back to the world of Gran Turismo 6. Now that I've completed World Circuit Tour, I have 15 stars. And now I only need 10 more to unlock the GT World Championship. So, let's go get the remaining stars in 15-minute races. I got in my AMG Vision GT and did the first race and, surprise surprise, I wasn't fast enough. And then I tried to beat it using the absolute f***ing nightmare that is the Ferrari GTO, but that also didn't work out. Meaning the time has come. It's time to do the Red Bull X Challenge and get the X 2014 Junior. Starting off with Red Bull Kart Masters, the first stage of the Red Bull X Challenge, so here we go. On the first race, I was able to overtake half of my grid pretty much instantly by disregarding the authorities. And as you can see, I'm already in first place. More off-road activities and I managed to make my way to second place. And then I managed to make that first place on the final corner of the first lap thanks to my awesome driving. The second race was not as easy, but also nothing to write home about. Really, all I needed to do is drive, and use the cornering strategy, and eventually I overtook the leader, although I don't have it on camera. The third race at Eiger Nordwand proved to be the most challenging, and that's for one particular reason. The jump! Cause I almost had an insert explosion here moment because of it. But despite how annoying the jump really is, it still wasn't enough to stop me from catching up to the leader and overtaking him. Even though I got second place in the last race, that still doesn't change the fact that I won. And yeah, that's Red Bull Kart Series. So I successfully completed Red Bull Kart Series and got a Red Bull Racing Kart which I'll never use. And now for the Red Bull X 2014 Junior Championship. The first race at Silverstone Stowe Circuit was pretty easy. Really, all I had to do was use the cornering strategy and I eventually managed to climb up to first place. And the second race at Twin Ring Motegi East was even easier, given that I was able to overtake half of my opponents on the first braking zone. As for how I managed to overtake the other opponents, 2 words: off-road activities. We don't talk about the third race. I'm not making that stupid reference. The fourth race at Rome Circuit was the most painful to watch, as I was almost able to overtake the leader, but of course I had to f*** everything up like I always do. On the fifth and final race at Brands Hatch, I managed to gain a respectable first place before I f***ed up like in the last race. But then I realized, if I can't get any points for this race, might as well make sure the leader doesn't get any points either, as I pushed him into the sand trap, causing him to lose a lot of time. And somehow I still managed to win. And yeah, that's Red Bull X 2014 Junior Championship. And now that I won the championship, I get this beautiful Red Bull X 2014 Junior. But then I realized the Red Bull X 2014 comes equipped with racing softs. Meanwhile, the event requires you to use racing hard tires, meaning that all of that was for nothing. But luckily, I just remembered one last car which I can try. And if even that doesn't work, then it's game over. I remember Taran telling me long ago that I should get a Nissan GTR from the Sierra Time Rally. And honestly, I think that's what I should have done from the beginning. So I downloaded the last remaining update and got to work. It was challenging, but not as challenging as the Ferrari GTO one. Plus, I already have some experience with the Circuito de la Sierra circuit, so that kinda made it easier for me. And there it is, the long-awaited appearance of the GTR Nismo. Now let's just hope that 15-minute races is actually beatable with this car. The first race is at Apricot Hill. I'm probably not gonna do too well at first, given that these are my literal first impressions with the car. I mean, not quite the first impression, but you get what I mean. Anyways, on this corner, the Astra stood no chance against the GTR. It wasn't until this braking zone that I managed to overtake the M3 GT. Gently. Then on the downhill drop, I managed to overtake the economy tire victim. And then I tried to catch up to the R8 LMS by pulling a Marzo, but failed. And it wasn't until the second lap that I managed to catch up to the R8 LMS and overtake it, alongside the BMW Z4 GT3 in front of it. And the R34, shut up, Skyline touring car wasn't too difficult to overtake either. Not too long after, I managed to catch up to the R8 LMS Ultra, and then I managed to overtake it on the next corner by pulling a Marzo Farzo. Don't ask me why he called himself that. And then literally nothing happened on the third and fourth lap. That is, until I managed to overtake the SLS AMG GT3 on this corner. The fifth lap was pretty peaceful, but the sixth one, however, is where I managed to slowly but steadily catch up to the leader and managed to overtake the race car equivalent of the car I'm driving. And then it took me over 2 laps to catch up to the next race car and to overtake it. Then I went on the straight as the 9th lap was about to start, and luckily I was able to slipstream, which allowed me to catch up to the R35 touring car and to overtake it. And then the rest of the 9th lap was dedicated to trying to catch up to the leader, which did not start coming to fruition until the 10th lap started, which is when I managed to slipstream my way into second place. And now the only thing standing between me and first place is this Żółtek GT by Citroen, which I managed to overtake on the braking zone, allowing me to take the first place for myself. And even though the GT by Citroen was competitive, it still wasn't enough to stop me from winning the race. Nobody gives a shit. Let's move on. The second race is at Ascari Race Resort. The first section of the track came around and I managed to easily overtake the ABT Audi. Then I was unable to overtake the E92 M3 until I pulled an off-road activity on this corner. As for the M3 GT, I managed to catch up to it on this corner due to it braking like a f***ing dumbass. Then I wasn't able to overtake anyone else until this corner on the second lap, where I managed to pull a triple overtake. And then on this corner, the Ford Falcon fails to beat me once again, alongside the spoon-fit livery R8 LMS. Another corner and I managed to overtake the SLS AMG GT3. And then it wasn't until the third lap that I managed to catch up to the Ford GT LM, although it looks a bit off. Either way, I managed to overtake it on this corner. And then for the rest of the third lap and for the entirety of the fourth lap, let's just say that I tried to catch up to second place but failed horribly at it. Fifth lap starts and I managed to make my sneak attack on the R35 GTR. And now all I need to do is to overtake this McLaren F1 to claim my first place, which turned out to be a lot easier than I thought, as I managed to overtake it just by pulling an off-road activity. Let's just say that the McLaren F1 was an absolute nuisance in the fast corners, but I managed to gain some time over it in the slow corners. Then on this corner, the McLaren F1 tried to end my race but failed. Then on the 7th lap, all I needed to do is this, and that maneuver alone allowed me to get a guaranteed first place. The third and the final race on the Nordschleife definitely did not take 15 minutes. Anyways, this corner came around and I managed to easily overtake the Astra once again. And then on the next corner, I ended up pulling a mad gesture to try to catch up to the E92 M3, which worked to some extent, don't get me wrong. Then it wasn't until this corner that I managed to overtake the E92 M3, which luckily I managed to overtake it before the Duff 7 meme corner. If you didn't get the joke, watch the video where he beats Gran Turismo 5 with licensed test prize cars. Then on this corner, I managed to pull another shortcut, which allowed me to overtake the CLK DTM and the economy tire victim. But the victim overtook me back. And the CLK was also about to overtake me, but thankfully the game did its thing of manipulating the AI speed, which prevented that from happening. Anyways, on the next corner, I managed to overtake the C2. I said I managed to overtake the C2, there we go. And then it wasn't until this section of the track that I managed to overtake the R34 Skyline touring car. R8 LMS gang versus GTR bloke. Who will win? Oh boy, I won't know who. Anyways, this corner came around where I had a heart attack moment for a second, and I managed to overtake this black R8 LMS. And then on the carousel, I managed to overtake the third and last R8 LMS alongside the weak-ass Ford Falcon. The process of catching up to the GTR GT3 was long and boring, almost as if I crashed multiple times on purpose. And then on the Duff 7 meme corner, I forgot to brake, and I almost had an insert explosion here moment because of that. Although it didn't really affect my performance much, as I managed to overtake the R35 touring car 80 seconds later. I don't care what anybody tells me, catching up to the last two opponents took me a f***ing eternity, and I am not willing to bore you all with the process. Anyways, this corner came around and there was a rare occasion of a GT6 AI fail moment, which allowed me to catch up to GT by Citroen and overtake it. And now it's all down to these final sets of corners. Oh, deja vu. And by some very rare miracle, I was able to slipstream, which allowed me to catch up to the McLaren F1. And now I'm trying to overtake it, but ended up getting cock-blocked instead. That is, until I got to this corner right here, where I managed to come in clutch and pull a last-second overtake on the McLaren F1, winning the race and having a very intense battle with the AI, and earning one of the last few stars I need. And yeah, that's 15-minute races. And now I only need to do one more event. That event being Rain Masters. And given that this is my last event before GT World Championship, I've decided to torture myself with the GTO one last time. I equipped it with some rain tires before realizing that you're kinda forced to use racing softs. Anyways, the first race is at Spa-Francorchamps circuit. So let's see how I do. First corner, and I immediately overtook the Mercedes-Benz. And then I managed to overtake the 430 Scuderia just by driving. The Ford Shelby GT500 also didn't stand a chance against the GTO, and neither did the 458 Italia and the TZ3 Stradale, which I managed to overtake on the semi-chicane. Meanwhile, the Ford GT almost went wide into the sand trap, allowing me to overtake it. And I didn't even break a sweat, catching up to the SLR McLaren and then overtaking it. Wow, this race is easy. I'm only halfway through the first lap and I've already managed to climb up to 7th place. And I managed to make that 6th place on the next braking zone. It took me a while to catch up to the Viper ACR, but once I did catch up to it, it was very easy to overtake on the GT40 corner. And same goes for the Enzo Ferrari on the next braking zone. Then it took me all the way until the semi-chicane to catch up to the McLaren, and then I overtook it on the next corner, alongside the Pagani Huayra right in front of it. And now the only thing standing between me and first place is, oh no, Anyway, what Turan forgot to tell you all is that the Ferrari FXX is not much of a threat in the rain. Either way, if the Ferrari FXX appears in your race, get ready for a very intense battle against it. Although the Ferrari FXX is a very challenging opponent, luckily the GT40 corner is here to save the day, which luckily was enough to give me a guaranteed victory. I know that I can access the GT World Championship now, but I'm still gonna do the remaining 2 races for fun. The second race is at Le Mans Circuit. The first corner came around and I managed to overtake the Diablo and the GT500 with ease. And same goes for the SLS AMG on the next corner and the Viper, which I also managed to overtake pretty easily. And then it took me a bit to catch up to the Ford GT, but once I did, it was very easy to overtake it, alongside the Viper ACR and the Zonda C12. And the off-road activity allowed me to catch up to the McLaren MP412C. I still don't understand why British cars have such specific names. Anyways, on the braking zone, I smacked into the McLaren, causing me to lose control. Insert explosion here, which didn't really affect me much given that I was still ahead of the McLaren. Although the Ferrari Enzo overtook me, I managed to overtake it back on the braking zone. And now all I needed to do is catch up to the podium. But unfortunately for me, I've lost control of the GTO again. Insert explosion here. 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 This has to be the biggest insert explosion combo yet. But unfortunately, this large combo caused me to go from 3rd all the way down to 12th. So I tried to catch back up to the leader, off-road activity after off-road activity. And by some fucking miracle, I still managed to catch back up to the Ferrari FXX and pulled a last-second overtake on it, claiming 1st place and having one of the greatest redemption races I've ever done. The 3rd and the final race is at Nürburgring 24-hour layout, which was all the same. And even though I had a crash at the end that was very painful to watch, insert explosion here, I still managed to have my fun with the GTO. And yeah, that's Rain Masters. And well guys, we did it. Everything else is out of the way, so it's time to finally do the GT World Championship.